Ever wander through the grocery store and wonder, like, how did they make all those boxes of cookies look exactly the same? Or maybe you're the one who loves coming up with recipes, but you think, what if I could do this on a way bigger scale?
It's pretty amazing the level of precision involved.
Well, get ready to cook up something special, because today's deep dive is all about becoming an industrial cook.
Ooh, I like that. Cook up something special.
We're talking huge batches, serious efficiency, and a whole lot of deliciousness.
And you'd be surprised. A lot of people think it's just cooking, but it's a whole lot more. You're designing recipes for mass production, making sure each product meets super specific standards.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's not like tweaking your grandma's cookie recipe, right?
Right. Think thousands of cookies, all tasting exactly the same every single time. That takes serious skill.
Okay, so to help us break it all down, we're diving into RoleCatcher's career guides, skill guides, and especially their interview guides. We'll give you all the ingredients you need to nail that industrial cook interview.
Because in this field, it's not enough to just say you're a team player on your resume.
You gotta prove it.
Exactly. Those interview questions, they're designed to see how you handle the heat, so to speak.
Ooh, I see what you did there. All right, let's jump into some common questions you might get asked.
Yeah.
A big one is, can you tell us about your previous experience working in an industrial kitchen? Now, what if you haven't worked in a place that's like a giant food factory before?
That's okay. What's important here is to connect the dots for them. So even if your experience is from a busy restaurant kitchen, you can still highlight that.
Oh, I see. So it's not so much about the exact setting, but more about the skills, right?
Exactly. Did you have to manage different cooking stations during a crazy dinner rush? Have to adapt recipes for large parties, like 50 people all at once?
Ah, so you're still dealing with volume, speed, organization.
Exactly. That all translates. You've got to show them you can handle the pressure cooker of an industrial kitchen, even if you haven't been in one before.
I love that pressure cooker. All right, so it's all about those transferable skills.
And you know what? RoleCatcher's AI can actually help you figure out which of your skills from past jobs are the most transferable. Then they help you put those right on your resume. Pretty cool, huh?
That's super helpful. It's like having a secret weapon for your job hunt. Okay, speaking of being prepared, another question that might come up is about safety. Like, how do you ensure that you are following all the health and safety regulations in the kitchen? Yeah, I mean, that seems pretty straightforward, right?
It does, but here's the thing. Don't just give the obvious answer. Anyone can say, I always wash my hands.
Yeah, that's important, but
Right, but it's not enough. Think about specific examples. Do you have a system for checking the equipment, making sure it's all clean and working right? What about how you rotate ingredients so everything stays fresh?
so it's like they want to see you're already thinking ahead, being proactive.
Your supervisor.
Exactly. Okay, now, time is money, right? Especially in an industrial kitchen, so be ready for this one. How do you manage your time effectively to meet tight deadlines in an industrial kitchen?
Yes. This is where you really want to impress them with a specific example.
Because anyone can say, I'm a good multitasker.
Right. Instead, try something like, one time we had a huge catering order, like 200 people, and it was a rush. So I made sure to prep the main course first. Then I had my team work on plating the desserts while the ovens were preheating.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
You're showing, not just telling.
Exactly. It gives them a much clearer picture of how you handle pressure and make smart decisions under tight deadlines.
Which is key in a fast-paced environment like that. All right, we've talked about safety, time management. What's next on the menu of must-know interview questions? Now, that's what I call a recipe for a killer answer. Okay, we talked about safety, time management. What about quality control? How do you even answer a question like, how do you ensure that the food you prepare meets quality standards? Especially in that kind of setting, right?
This is where you got to show them you're a stickler for details, that consistency is key for you. It's not just about making something taste good. It's about making sure that every batch, every single serving is up to par.
Makes sense. You don't want one cookie tasting different than the next.
Exactly. So think about it. Are you super precise with your measurements? Do you always do those little taste tests as you go to make sure the flavors are spot on?
It's like being a food detective almost, right?
I like that. A food detective.
Wow.
Catching those little things before they become big problems.
Yeah, because when you're making food on such a large scale, even a tiny mistake could have a huge ripple effect.
Or for sure. And don't be afraid to talk about a time when you did catch something that was off. Maybe a spice blend wasn't quite right, or the dough wasn't rising properly. Did you flag it right away? Talk about how you handled it.
It shows you're not afraid to speak up and maintain those high standards.
And it shows you're a problem solver. Okay, ready for another big one? Teamwork. How do you manage a team of kitchen staff effectively? That's almost guaranteed to come up.
It's a team effort for sure.
Absolutely. This is where you really want to play up those leadership skills. Clear communication, knowing how to delegate tasks effectively, and keeping everyone motivated.
Because even if the food is amazing, if the team's not working together, it's not going to happen.
Exactly. So instead of just saying, I'm a people person, give them a concrete example.
I like that. Concrete example.
Right. Tell them about a time when you helped someone on your team improve their skills. Or maybe there was a conflict between team members and you helped resolve it.
So they know you can handle those interpersonal dynamics, which are crucial in ANY kitchen, but especially a high-pressure one like that.
Totally. And, it's not always easy to come up with those examples on the spot, especially when you're in an interview. That's where RoleCatcher can be really helpful.
Oh, yeah. How so?
They actually have these practice questions you can use, and their AI will give you feedback on your answers. It's like having your own personal interview coach.
That's amazing. Okay, so we've talked about teamwork, but what about staying up to date with everything happening in the culinary world? Like, how would you even answer a question like, how do you stay up to date with industry trends and new cooking techniques?
Ooh, that's a good one. It's all about showing them you're passionate about this field, that you're always eager to learn and grow. So talk about where you get your information from. Do you read industry magazines? Are you part of any online forums or groups?
Because the culinary world is constantly evolving, right?
Yeah.
New ingredients, new techniques, new equipment.
All the time. And they want to see that you're keeping up with it all.
So it's not just about saying, I read cookbooks. It's about being more specific.
Totally. Did a particular article inspire you to try a new technique in your own kitchen? Did you go to a workshop and learn about an ingredient you'd never even heard of before? Those are the kind of details that will make your answer really stand out.
Because it shows you're not just passively consuming information, you're actively seeking it out and applying it.
Exactly. And here's a little secret weapon for you, RoleCatcher's Career Compass. It can connect you with all sorts of resources like that, from skill guides to information on related careers.
So you could even use it to explore different career paths within the food industry if you wanted to.
Exactly. Okay, are you ready for one more curveball question before we move on?
Hit me with it. I'm ready for anything.
Okay, here it is. Can you tell us about a time when you had to deal with a difficult customer in an industrial kitchen?
Wait a minute. That doesn't even make sense. It's not like you're taking orders from people at a table.
That's what makes it tricky. But think about it this way. Who are your customers in an industrial kitchen? It could be a really demanding head chef, right?
Right.
Or maybe there was a big problem with the production line and you had to figure out a way to adapt a recipe on the fly.
Ah, so the difficult customer could be a situation, not necessarily a person.
Exactly. And you handle it the same way you would a grumpy customer at a restaurant. Stay calm, listen to what the issue is, and find a solution.
And of course, communication is key.
Always. Make sure you fully understand the problem before you try to fix it, and be clear when you're explaining things to other people.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense now. It's not as straightforward as it seems, but it's definitely a question you should be prepared for.
Absolutely. Because just like in any kitchen, clear communication is key to making sure everything runs smoothly.
It's true. Communication can save the day, especially in a high-stakes environment like that. But you know what else is interesting? I think a lot of people hear industrial cook and they think, okay, that's the job. That's what I'll be doing forever. But it doesn't have to be that way, right?
Not at all. It's like you've got your foot in the door to a whole world of possibilities.
I like that. So once you've got that experience under your belt, what are some of the paths you could take?
Well, becoming head chef is always a good goal.
Yeah, classic for a reason.
Right. But you could also get really specific, really niched down, like what about the baking side of things? Or confectionery?
Ooh, yeah, candy making on an industrial scale. That'd be pretty sweet.
Right. Or you could even get into food science.
Ooh, now that sounds next level. What does a food scientist even DO in, like an industrial setting?
Think of it like this. They're the ones figuring out how to make food last longer, how to make sure it stays safe to eat, all that while still tasting amazing.
So they're like the mad scientists of the food world, but in a good way.
Exactly. And it's a field that's just going to keep growing. People are always going to need to eat.
That's true. No matter what happens in the world, people got to eat. But let's say food science isn't your thing. What else is there?
Well, you could get into product development. That's where you actually get to create new food items.
Ugh.
Imagine seeing your own snack on the grocery store shelves.
Oh, man, that'd be the dream. Okay, that's seriously cool. So many options. But no matter which path you choose, I bet having that experience as an industrial cook would give you a huge advantage.
Totally. You learn so much about how things work on a large scale, about efficiency, consistency, all that good stuff.
It's like a crash course in the business of food.
Exactly. And this is another area where RoleCatcher can be super helpful. They've got all this info on different career paths, skill guides, and their AI can even help you figure out how your experience as an industrial cook might translate to those other roles.
So it's like having a roadmap for your career, showing you all the different directions you could go.
Exactly. And whether you're just starting out or you're looking to level up your career, it's never too late to explore those possibilities.
Couldn't agree more. Well, there you have it, folks, our deep dive into the fascinating world of industrial cooking.
We've covered a lot of ground.
We have. From acing those tricky interview questions to exploring all the amazing career paths you can take, hopefully you're feeling fired up and ready to cook up something amazing.
And remember, with the right preparation and maybe a little help from our friends at RoleCatcher, anything is possible.
That's right. Now go out there and live us proud. Until next time, happy cooking.